Welcome to Flat Ride of the Week, episode 22, the first episode on my channel. Today I will be talking about the Scrambler type of rides, also known as the Sizzler or Twister. As always, if you think I forgot something or that I said anything incorrect, you can leave a comment down below. Let's get started. So the Scrambler is a very well-known, common ride in North America. They are very simple and cheap to build. They mostly consist of 3 crosses with 4 gauntlets on each cross. The gauntlets are fixed sideways to the cross. The crosses spin in the opposite direction of the main structure, creating some kind of near-miss effects with the other crosses, and I think a lot of lateral G-forces. I haven't been on one personally, but they look like they can give some good lateral G-forces. So let's get started with the history. The Scrambler was invented by Richard Hillman Harris of Georgia. The first ever Scrambler was located at the Lakewood Fairgrounds in 1938. Harris built and sold 2 more of his Scramblers around 1940. In 1941, he obtained a patent for the design of the Scrambler. Then the Bridge Company obtained the patent from Harris, and they started producing them more than 10 years later in 1954. The first Scrambler sold by Bridge Company was located at Funland Park in Miami and opened in 1955. By the end of 1955, Bridge produced 16 Scramblers. The Scramblers started to become very popular with 250 willing buyers in 1956, but they ended up only producing 25 of them by the end of 1956. Their production has remained fairly constant over the next few years, rising from 26 in 1960 to 30 in 1961. In 1959, the first Scrambler was constructed in the UK. It was built by Edwin Hall under a license of Bridge Company. Other UK companies built Scrambler rides later, but I will talk about those in a few minutes. The Bridge Company has been producing Scramblers since 1954, and they still produce them to this day. They still produce 3 different models: the next generation 28 feet trailer model, the traditional park model Scrambler, and the little Scrambler model. First of all, the 28 feet trailer mounted model is a transportable version. It is as simple as it could be, with no floor and as good as no decorations, apart from some lights. This model is available with various types of lights, and the model has 3 crosses with 4 gauntlets on each cross. 1 gauntlet can seat up to 3 people, so the capacity is 36 riders per cycle. Then the traditional park model Scrambler is the permanent version of the Scrambler. It's as good as the same ride as the trailer mounted version, but just not trailer mounted. This model also has a deluxe option with extra lights. And then the little Scrambler is basically a smaller version of the Scrambler. It has the same movements and same amount of gauntlets as the normal Scrambler, but the gauntlets look a lot smaller. I don't think 3 people can fit in there, although their site says that 3 people can fit in there. But I don't really believe that. As you can see in the picture, I don't think 3 people can fit in that. Anyway, Bridge still sells Scramblers every year, and they are still very popular in US parks and fairs. Now moving on to the competition. Wisdom Rides made their own version of the Scrambler in 1973, named the Sizzler. Officially, a Sizzler is a Scrambler but with thick arms and a platform, but Wisdom's Sizzler only had the thick arms, without the platform. The thick arms allow for more lights, so a better appearance. Wisdom still produces the Sizzler. And later Wisdom made the Super Sizzler, which did have a platform and even a backdrop, but they don't produce that model anymore. And then when the first Bridge Company Scramblers were constructed in the UK, they were a big success. Various other UK companies started making Scramblers as they were so popular. And in 1960 the Twist was born. This was basically a Scrambler but with a floor. They added a wooden floor so the ride could be more visible and have better decorations. In 1982, the first complete Sizzler was built. This was a follow-up of the Twist with thicker arms that allowed more lights on the ride, so it was visually more impressive. An example of a company who builds Sizzlers is PWS Rides. They produced a lot of Sizzlers with the name Twister and they still sell them to this day. The Scramblers, Twists or Sizzlers never really catched on in mainland Europe, mainly because in the 60s and the 70s the Calypsos were very popular. The Calypso is a very different ride from the Scramblers, but they still make the same movements, and they are visually a lot more impressive. In the 50s, the Scrambler also made it out to Australia, when King Carnival Amusements of Tasmania built a Scrambler type of ride. The project was carried out by rail engineers who used rail and tram parts to build the ride. The special thing about this ride is that it doesn't have lower arms, so the crosses are carried by the upper arms only. This ride is called the G-Whizzer, and only one of them is known to be built. And then some other facts. ARM UK has actually built a lifting Sizzler named Cyclone. This is just a normal Sizzler, but instead the whole structure lifts up to about fence height. Only one of these was built and it still travels to this day in the UK. So that was it for this video. The Scramblers are still a very common ride in the US, and the Twisters and Sizzlers, whatever you want to call them, are still a very popular ride on UK fairs. I personally haven't been on one of them, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, because we just don't have any of those here on mainland Europe. Thank you for watching, and I also want to say that I have a Discord. You can join with the link in the description below. I will use the Discord for the announcement of new videos, of course, and I will also ask every week for footage and pictures of the ride I'm covering in Flat Ride of the Week. So if you want your footage or pictures used in the Flat Ride of the Week about the ride you have pictures of, be sure to join the Discord and keep an eye on the announcements channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you all next week. Goodbye.